Welcome to the Critical Thinking Skills in Science course. This is Chapter 9, Different Scientific Models. We're on session number 6. On to the next model, Old Earth Creationism. What are its main tenets? What is its source of reliable knowledge? Well, the primary source of reliable knowledge for this one would be an external authority. Okay, so it goes to an external authority, which is God, and through revelation. Secondary sources then would include empiricism and human reason. The culture it represents would be Western. Its theology, God does exist, and the study of creation proves it. Ontology then, what is reality broken down into, and that this has a matter and spirit ontology, which it then has the divide, it has the dualism, but it's not clearly divided and separated as in the other scientific models. It's more of an open system, more of a consistently open system, and the first cause is God, and there is no common ancestry. So in other words, this is marking now differences between the different scientific models. Core belief number 1. The Bible and science, mainly geology and astronomy, are both reliable sources of knowledge about the origin of the earth and the universe when interpreted correctly. Core belief number 2. Scientific evidence, when properly interpreted, is consistent with the Bible when it is properly interpreted. Okay, so we have two sets of interpretation. One is a scientific interpretation, and the other one is a biblical interpretation. And when those two are both interpreted correctly, they will then reflect and relate one-to-one to each other. Core belief number 3. The Bible does not tell us the age of the earth. And that's probably somewhat true. It is a historical document that has recorded the history of man over the face of the earth through generations. The Hebrew people were very religious at recording their generations, recording each family, each father, each son, and how they're all related. Number 4, the core belief number 4, the flood was a real historical event, but it was not responsible for producing the fossils. Rather, fossils are relics of organisms that were mainly here before humans. Okay, so Old Earth creationism is, it believes in the flood, but that the relics and the fossils that exist today in the fossil record are not any evidences of that flood. Animals, core belief number 5, animals died long before the fall of Adam and Eve. Okay, so this is a little different one now that is trying to say, okay, when Adam and Eve sinned, what did that introduce into the newly created world? Did it introduce death for all living things, or was there death before Adam and Eve have sinned? And so in this model, it says animals died long before the fall of Adam and Eve. Core belief number 6. Quite a bit of evolution may have happened, but humans, and at least some other major forms of life, were separately created. Okay, so when they call themselves creationism, they are saying that there is not a common descent from all animals to man, that there is a break-off, that there is a difference in that there may be common descent among the animal kingdom, but when it comes to other major categories and to man himself, they are created in the image of God. They were separately created. Core belief number 7. To account for the geological ages, two strategies have been proposed. Okay, so in this scientific model proposal, they want to keep the biblical record intact, but yet reinterpret it in a way that would reflect the timeline, geological timelines. So to account for the geological ages, two strategies have been proposed. One is called the gap theory. And so in old earth creationism, some groups propose the gap theory, which means in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Created, done, boom. Then the earth was without form and void. So they question, something happened here. Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:2 now says, and there was formless and void. What happened? Well, they proposed that maybe that was the fall of Satan. Maybe that was a gap then that includes all of ancient history and the dinosaurs and the fall of Satan and Lucifer, and then he was judged, and then God starts over in a new creation. So that's called the gap theory. The other one is called the day-age theory, which is saying, okay, well, maybe then it was a different layout. Maybe each day of creation, day 1, day 2, day 3, is actually symbolic of eons of time, and that each one represents a different geological age. This model and thought model is supported by Hugh Ross and Reasons to Believe. And they also can go by, or some people go by, what's called progressive creationism. So this here is Hugh Ross's Old Earth Creationism. What we're trying to do is just give an overview of when we're talking about different models of science, where we're talking about applying critical thinking to science, is we need to define our science. I mean, you start with, okay, science, you're talking about evolutionary science. And if you're talking about Darwinism, or are you talking about a punctuated equilibrium of Stephen Jay Gould? Or are we talking about intelligent design theory, where we're just talking about, okay, well, it looks like there was an intelligence that went in and out of the system, but the system is mostly closed. Or maybe it was theistic evolution, where the emphasis is on the evolution, but it's still, theism is still a part of it. Or was it maybe evolutionary creationism? Or maybe it was old earth creationism. And so in other words, there's a lot of models out there that people have proposed, and what the differences of them is in their basic beliefs. Where do they get reliable knowledge from? Where do scriptures fit in? Is God accessible or not? Has he revealed himself? Do we believe that we can trust in what has been revealed? And so in other words, there's a lot of different ways of looking at science. We need to define what do we mean by critical thinking and what do we mean by science. Thank you for joining me. This is chapter 9, and we're wrapping up on session number 6.